Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. We're back like we never left with my guy, Quakes, and we've got the pleasure of being joined by broadcaster Craig Mitch. How you doing, Craig?
I'm all good. Thanks for having me, guys, man.
Well, you're more than welcome on, and it's a good time to be a Spurs fan, and that's why we brought you on today. How are you feeling at the end of the season under Conte?
I mean, first of all, I'm really happy. Like, I'm ecstatic. Always wanted a manager of this cloth, cut from this cloth, this caliber. I was worried because I felt like, and I think a lot of Spurs fans were, that, if we didn't get top four, he'd probably leave. My whole thing was, obviously we wanted top four, we wanted Champions League, we wanted to finish above Arsenal, but my thing was, even if we didn't get top four, I just wanted to know that we'd get at least one full season with Antonio Conte, get a pre-season under him where he can really get his hands into the team and then see what he's about throughout our whole season. And obviously I thought that was in doubt if we didn't get top four, but thankfully we did. He's here. Apparently 150 million has been sanctioned. I'm not holding my breath. I need to actually see it. Perisic has been signed. So things are looking good right now. And, Quaku will tell you, and Antonio Conte really starts getting his hands into a team, he can work some magic. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and what you see with Spurs as well under Conte is just like a clear identity, and it might not be the most progressive football, but football, I've said this so many times, is a manager's game. And if you look at the top four teams in the Premier League, Klopp at Liverpool, you see Man City with Pep, Tuchel with Chelsea, and Antonio Conte with Spurs. Those are the four best managers in the Premier League, and there's no surprise why those four teams finish in the top four. Yeah. So the fact that, like you say, you're going to get a full pre-season Conte, he's going to bring in the players that he wants. I've seen firsthand when he came to Chelsea, the 16-17 season, we were not fancied at all. We had Victor Moses and Marcus Alonso starting wing-backs, and went on to win the Premier League, accumulated over 90 points. So as a Chelsea fan, I am a little bit worried about Spurs. I was hoping that Arsenal was finishing the top four instead of you boys, because I think they're less of a threat. I think Arteta's the man before the man for Arsenal, but I think Conte could be the man for Spurs. So if you bring in the right signings and you strengthen in the right areas, there's no reason why Spurs can't bridge that gap between the top, not only the top three teams, but the top two teams as well. And you hear the way that Conte and hear the way that Pep talk about Spurs, and you see the results that Spurs got against those sides as well. You're coming, and it's a little bit worrying for the other teams in the top four.
I hope we're coming. This is what I want to see. This is what I want to hear from Chelsea fans. I don't think we've felt that in a while. And obviously with their ownership changing and stuff, there's uncertainty over there. I mean, Arsenal, they haven't finished in the Champions League for a really long time now. So, but yeah, with Antonio Conte, and it's like what you just said, like those are the top four managers in the league, Tuchel, Klopp, Pep, and Antonio. And I know a lot of people maybe criticize Antonio's style of play, saying, it's a bit counter-attacking and, it's not as progressive maybe as Klopp's and Pep's, but you need different styles. You don't want everyone to have the same style. It's like boxing, styles make fights. And it's the same thing within football. If everyone's just playing the same brand of football, it's not as interesting. Obviously, we love to see great tiki-taka football and we want people to have possession and maybe entertain. But when Conte ball is in full swing, it's very entertaining.
Conte ball, I love it.
I think there's a few things I'd like to pick up on there, especially the comparisons to Arsenal. I think, Tottenham are a cut above. I think that the difference between the two sides is probably the two world-class players in Heung-min and Harry Kane. And then, of course, you've got a world-class manager. But I think, that's just on the pitch. I mean, the stats suggest that you are above them anyway. I mean, you've got a higher win percentage. I think you concede less goals. I think you score more goals per game. You mentioned Klopp and Pep there. And one thing that they've really brought into the Premier League in the last 5 years or so is longevity. That's something that Antonio Conte really hasn't been associated with, through his career. Had a couple of years at Chelsea, burned all the players out under the strict regime that, is so familiar to him. He's done something similar at Inter Milan. I know the circumstances of him leaving there were probably a little bit more off the field in terms of, the finances behind the club. But is the future Antonio Conte at Tottenham?
If I'm being honest, no. I mean, he's the type of man that, as soon as things maybe don't go his way, he looks for the exit. He likes to move on. He likes a new challenge. I don't expect Antonio Conte, even if he finds success at Spurs, I don't expect him to be there for a long time. And I think with Spurs fans now, we've got to understand that now we just need to win things. We need to win things. We need to We've got this brand new stadium, which isn't that new anymore. It's been a few years now, but we've got this beautiful stadium and it needs some silverware in there. You know, we need to be kind of dining at the top. If you want to, you know, play with the big boys, I'm not referencing that annoying song that's been on TikTok every day. You need to start winning things. You need to start being in the Champions League again, like consecutive years without leaving. And I think, you know, as long as Conte can just bring some silverware there, appease some, you know, a large section of the fans, and also players like Harry Kane, Son, world-class players who need to be winning things really and truly, then for me, I'll take that in the short term, you know, and then hopefully, I know people say he leaves clubs in their wake, but I think Levy's a bit more shrewd than people give him credit for. You know, I think he would be planning for after that. And after, when we had Poch and Poch left, and then we got Jose, and then I never thought we'd end up with Antonio Conte. And that's kind of what's happened now. And he's managed to now convince him to stay for this long, another year extension, maybe, I don't know. But as long as we get some sort of success, I'll be happy.
And you mentioned Harry Kane there. Obviously, we know how good he is. In my opinion, I think the best players in the Premier League is quite clear cut. I think there's 4 best players in the Premier League. It's Harry Kane, it's Virgil van Dijk, it's Kevin De Bruyne, and it's Mo Salah. And Harry Kane's been done at the top table for the last 4 or 5 years. We all remember about a year ago, the overlap interview he did on the golf course with Gary Neville that sent shockwaves around the Spurs fan base. It looked like he was out of the door. You dug your heels in, you kept him. And it seems to be paying fruition now, because there are talks of Harry Kane signing a new extension at Spurs, which is music to all Spurs fans' ears. Do you see Harry Kane being at Spurs for the majority of his prime?
I mean, now I think after the Man City deal kind of collapsing when he tried to force his way out, I don't see where else he goes, to be honest. Obviously, he's still, I think he's going to maybe have 2 years left after this summer. So you maybe think he could maybe run it down a bit. We're seeing players do that all the time now. That's the trend, you know. As much as we like to think players are loyal and they're all about, you know, being there for the club, and football's a business. You know, we work within the business. We know it's a business. I've worked in the football business now for a long time, and I've kind of taken that part of my hat off, going, you know, they love the club, because it's not reciprocal. Clubs don't love them the way people think they do. You know, you know, you get that injury or you stop firing and you're surplus to requirements, you're shipped out the door. So it's not a two-way thing. And I think fans need to remember that. They need to remember that, yeah, like the club's not showing as much love as you think it is. So why would a player show as much love to the club? It's a business before anything. This isn't like the 70s and the 80s when there wasn't as much money in football and you could have that loyalty and you could remain at a club. There's big contracts flying around now. And that's why you're seeing players run down contracts. So for Harry Kane, if he started running down the contract and maybe tried a lot, I know he's about 29, 30 now, but players are playing longer, you know, sports science, nutrition, they're playing a lot longer. And that's another reason why I'm not even, I know this is a separate thing, but that's why I'm happy about Perisic as well. Because I hear the jokes and I see people, Chelsea fans as well, because, you know, they were going for him as well, saying, he's an old man, you know, he needs a walking stick, all this, that, and the third. But I'm like, look at Thiago Silva. It's a bit ironic they're saying that, because Thiago Silva has been a Rolls Royce for Chelsea this season. So, yeah, I think, you know, players can play on long. I would like to see Harry Kane stay. From a pure footballing perspective, I would like to see him win the top honours. I think he deserves it, the calibre of player he is. I don't see him winning a Champions League at Spurs, unfortunately, if I'm being honest, even with Antonio Conte. And I think he deserves to win something of that thing. So I'm kind of torn. I want him to stay, but I also want him, the player, to achieve things.
I'm kind of with you on that, and that's why I think it was a shame that he couldn't. Obviously, there's other reasons why it was a shame, but the fact that we didn't win the Euros, because I feel like Harry Kane, with the Euros in his back pocket as captain, as somebody who scored a lot of goals in that tournament, would have been satisfied. I feel like he wants to stay at Spurs. He's looking for reasons to stay at Spurs, but he knows for his legacy, he can't just be banging goals. He has to win silverware. So I feel like if he achieves on the international stage, I feel that he'll be more than content to stay at Spurs, because he can go and get Alan Shearer's records. He's in a team where everything is tailored to him. He's playing with a player like Son, who is one of the best forwards in the world at the moment. And that's the one player I do want to talk about, Heung-min. There's always chats about the most underrated players in the Premier League. And we've seen it's award season right now for football. So we've seen nominations and awards given out for Premier League Player of the Year, the FWA Football Writer of the Year, and PFA Player of the Year. historically, the PFA Player of the Year has been the most prestigious. This is the one that we remember. It's a trophy that we can recognise. And someone's left off that list. If we run through that list, it's Van Dijk, Harry Kane, Sadio Mane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mo Salah, and Kevin De Bruyne. Talk about Heung-min Son and like how underrated and underappreciated he is within modern football.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't know if right now, right this second, he's underrated. I think he has been for the last few seasons, but I think right now people know how good he is. You speak to professionals. I saw an interview with Trent the other day. He said he would take Son if there's one player he could take in the league. I saw him say Son. You know, I remember speaking to Raheem Sterling years ago. This was years ago when I was doing the England stuff. And he said he rates Son highly. And this was like 2018, 2019. So players know. They know Son, how good Son is. I think it's just because of how humble he is. I think, you know, his humility is almost... And people say, oh, we want players to be humble. And that's why I say forget all of that. You know, have that bravado. Be like... I don't know, maybe not the Floyd Mayweathers, maybe that's going too far, but be like the LeBrons, be like the people that actually back themselves and say, be like the Ronaldos, you know, say how good you are, speak about how good you are, carry yourself, even if you're not being vocal about it, move a bit like Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne walks with this kind of air of arrogance, you know, where he just knows how good he is. And I think Son doesn't do that enough. I think Son smiles a lot, which makes people like him and they endear themselves to him, but he needs to be a bit more like, yeah, I'm that guy. Like, I know I'm that guy. And I think then people start to go, you're that guy. Whereas if you start, you know what I mean, being within your shell a bit, and you keep signing these crazy contracts at Spurs, people are just going to be like, well, first of all, you don't know your worth. Yeah. Because why are you still at Spurs? And I'm saying that as a Spurs fan, by the way, which is crazy. Yeah. And second of all, I don't know. I feel like he just needs to have a bit more arrogance to him. I like arrogance in an athlete, not in human beings, but in athletes. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you think that, you know, sharing the golden boot with Mo Salah this year will be the catalyst for, you know, maybe him believing in himself a little bit more? Because he's always going to be Mr. Number 2 at Tottenham when Harry Kane's there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I want to say, is he Mr. Number 2 this season? Because, you know, he got the golden boot and he was integral to us getting top 4. But then I also say, if you take Harry Kane out of the team, we don't get top 4. That's just a fact. So everything moves through him, even the belief and the confidence of the team moves through Harry Kane. But I think he believes in himself. I do think he believes in himself, and I think he knows how good he is. I think it's more to do with Spurs than Son or Kane. It's more to do with Spurs. Spurs, I believe in DNAs of clubs. I believe in what Jose Mourinho said, football heritage. I believe in that stuff. Yeah, I believe in that. I believe it's a real thing. I believe, you know, clubs have to get over humps. They have to find this thing within him. You walk around certain clubs. Like even when you go to Anfield, when I went to the training ground, Melwood, when I went there years ago, you walk in and you see the trophies on the wall. They've got like, not the actual trophies, but they've got them like printed on the wall as soon as you walk in the reception. And it's kind of like, you're reminded constantly as a player. You walk around Cobham, there's just pictures of Frank Lampard holding trophies and that. So you're reminded as a player the weight and the responsibility of just being at this club. Whereas if you're at certain clubs where that's just not really a thing, or your trophies are from the 60s and the 70s and stuff.
Trust.
It's kind of like there's no pressure. There's no real pressure to deliver. That's the reason Real Madrid everyone looked at this Real Madrid at the start of the season and said, old guys, great players have left, you know, these young players, Vinicius ain't really ready yet. He's you know, and then it's like they've won a La Liga and a Champions League because they walk around and they know what they have to do at this club, or you can't be here. And I think that has to change at certain clubs. That has to change at Spurs. Even at a high club like Man City and PSG, they don't have Champions Leagues like that. So there's not that expectation of, you got to win it. Well, obviously there's pressure to win a Champions League, but you know what I'm saying? You got to kind of break those ducks and do that. And I think, with Son, he knows how good he is, but it's just like the rest of the team need to hold the whole club over the line. And I think maybe once they get over that line, that could be the floodgate maybe for something more, but they need to get over that.
Well, just to play devil's advocate to your argument then, if you had to lose one of them, which one would you pick out of Harry Kane and Son? Because whoever you pick is Mr. Number 2, surely.
It's tough because they're the same age as well.
Yeah,
if I had to, I'd lose Son. It sounds crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the reason I lose Son is because Harry Kane creates goals and he scores goals. Son doesn't. I know he got a few assists this season in the Premier League, but he's not. He hasn't got the vision Kane has. I feel like if we sign another good forward, we could still score goals with Harry Kane in that team. You know, he's dropping deeper. He's finding space. He's just too intelligent. I think that's what, for me, it's not even, I know people look at Harry Kane about like his goals and now his playmaking ability, but for me, it's his footballing brain, his footballing IQ. To me, there isn't many in the Premier League that can talk to him. Maybe De Bruyne. I don't know many players that has his footballing IQ and understands the game. And it's interesting because he's a big fan of Tom Brady, like a massive fan of Tom Brady. And you can kind of see how he's implemented that, you know, to be that kind of quarterback and be someone like Tom Brady, you have to have that kind of IQ of stats and strategy and how to kind of pick out a pass. And you're seeing Harry Kane kind of implement that in his game now. So unfortunately, out of the two, I would have to give up Son.
Yeah. With that, I know he's a big fan of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's got 7 rings. Harry Kane is with a bit more silverware, and then he can put himself on that level. But before we get onto the trade feature of the podcast, I want to put you on the spot in terms of Spurs next season. Obviously, all things considered, we know that you're going to probably do a bit more business in the transfer window. But where do you think you'll finish in next season? And do you reckon that season ends with you winning the trophy finally?
I'm going to stick my neck on the line and I'm going to say I think Spurs finish 3rd next season. I think they take Chelsea out of that 3rd spot. I just think... Craig, are you there? Have you frozen? Has he frozen?
I thought he was just flabbergasted. No, but he is actually gone.
So did I, but he's frozen.
It's perfect, though. This is perfect. But yeah, carry on.
I'm back.
You're back. I thought you were just like, yeah. No, I think we take 3rd next season. I believe in Antonio Conte that much. I saw what he did this. We finished 3 points below Chelsea this season, and this ain't even his squad. So I think pre-season, no World Cup as well throughout the summer. Can really get a good pre-season in, bring in some of the players he wants. I really like Kulusevski, only 21. Really like Bentancur. So just get another 5 signings in minimum. We've already got 1, I think. I think Fraser Foster's coming, so that's 2. So maybe another 4. And I think we're good to go, man. And in the silverware argument, I do believe he can win the FA Cup. I do believe he could win an FA Cup, but we need to start taking it seriously. Like, I feel like in the past, especially under Pochettino, we were dropping players for certain games when I thought, we're not in a position to do this. We ain't won anything. So we need to really, really, really have it as like the forefront of what we're trying to do alongside top 4. So yeah, let's see if we can do it.
I like it. Bold. It's bold. All right. So we've got this feature that we do. We've done it with everybody that we've talked to in terms of the wrap-up series. We're going to offer you a trade. We're going to disregard football finances. We understand that that's all fugazi at the moment. I don't know what transfer fees even mean right now. Erling Haaland went for 52 million and that Mbappe is getting £100 million sign non-fee. So we're going to take all of that away. And I'm going to offer you a trade and you let me know if you take that trade. And I've had a look at the Spurs squad. I know what you kind of need. I feel like I've listened to some of the fans as well. And the position that you need strengthening, despite the fact that Emerson maybe came on a little bit stronger in the second half of the season, you man needed a right wing back, a proper young right wing back that can implement, or Conte can implement the style using that player as an outlet.
Yeah.
Hugo Lloris is a player who's got huge esteem. He's won the World Cup. He's great, but he might be just on the other side of his prime. Yeah. So the trade I'm going to offer you right now is Hugo Lloris for Tariq Lamptey. Are you taking it?
Oh, so we're switching positions.
You man can deal with the goalkeeper later on, bring in somebody else. But I'm saying Hugo Lloris for Tariq Lamptey.
No.
Oof, no.
Nah.
Give me the reasons.
With Hugo Lloris, it's not just about what he does on the field, man. It's about what he brings to the team. It's about his role within the team. And I think you watched the documentary, right?
Yeah.
When he was like bollocking Son, like not backing back. Like, I think there's this misconception that Lloris is like this calm, French, smooth-talking guy. But you got to understand, like, as much as he does make a few crazy howlers every now and again, there's a reason he's captain of France. There's a reason he's been captain of Spurs for like almost a decade. There's a reason no matter what manager comes in, he doesn't get stripped to that captaincy and they give it to Kane. You know, Kane's out there. He looks like he's the captain in that thing, but there's a reason Lloris Look how many different managers we've had now. He's always captain. It never changes. Deschamps is never taking him that captaincy off him until he leaves, because there's something he's saying in the dressing room. There's something he's doing around maybe the training ground, the way he carries himself and speaks, that cuts through. So I got to take that into consideration as well. And he's a good shot stopper. Like I said, he'll have moments of madness, but he's still a quick shot stopper.
Yeah, fair. I respect it. I respect to stick with your guys.
Yeah, you have to stick with your guys.
As much as I cuss him out at times during the season. Trust me, I've cussed out Louis many times during the season. But nah, I have to stick with him. Not for Tariq Lamptey anyway. I rate Tariq Lamptey. I rate him. But you got to give me a serious wing back to trade him.
What, like a worldie?
Yeah, or just below a worldie.
Yeah, I respect.
Do you think Sessegnon can become that player though?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know Sessegnon. He's one of my mates. I actually chat to him quite a bit, and he's good. He's really good. He's got the talent. I think one thing, and I've always said it to him as well, is it's just the confidence. It's just he needs to just believe in himself a bit more. And I think this run and the kind of games that Antonio Conte and the belief he's put in him towards the end of the season, I think this is going to do him the world of good now. I think that's going to give him the confidence he needed. He even uploaded like a highlight clip on his Instagram the other day, like a reel, like saying like, what was it, 21, 22 seasons. So you see he's feeling himself now. And I think he needed that, because even when I would like interview him, you could see that the confidence wasn't all the way there. You could see someone that's been transferred from Fulham and it hasn't really gone the way he maybe wanted it to go. And that's all you need as a footballer sometimes is belief, especially if you haven't naturally got that confidence. So I think once you get, a run of games and then you start to achieve things, so a top 4 finish, and he's been a part of that, that's all you need to crack on. So I don't think, obviously Perisic is there now, which he can be, deployed in that position. I don't know if he's going to be contesting for the front three or if he's going to play that wing back position. It's going to be interesting for Sessegnon now, but he's going to have to battle his way then if that is the case, because it looks like Reguilon's going to get moved on.
Crazy. Well, Craig, we appreciate you coming on today. And what I will say, I mean, as I said at the start of the video, it's a good time to be a Tottenham fan. You got one of the best managers in the world. You're bringing players in the entry door already. So I don't think third in the league is too unrealistic, especially with the amount of unrest going on at Chelsea at the moment. But that's a conversation for another day. But Craig, where can everyone find you on socials? Yeah, hit me up, man, at Craig Mitch, Instagram, all of them, even TikTok, even though I don't use it, but if you're over there, just hit me up there. And yeah, just YouTube, Craig Mitch. Yeah, just check me out on all of those things, man. Love football, so yeah. Appreciate it. Well, I'll put all the links in the description, of course. And Quaker, where can they find us? You can find us on Twitter at WTF Podcast 90. You can find us on Instagram at We Talk Football Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. And we'll be back with more videos very, very soon. Check them out, man. Check them out.